We don't even touch those really anymore because of this project. So we pivoted and we're like, fuck that. All right, we back. We back with episode number 2 of the Beyond the Build pod. I got an intro for you guys that I had Claude help write up. I'm going to read it. I'm going to see how it feels. And I don't know, maybe we'll run with it. Maybe I'll try to memorize it. I don't know. But here we go. Most podcasts are going to tell you what you want to hear. I'm not doing that. If you're looking for motivational speeches and highlight reels, this is the wrong show. This is for people who are actually in it, building companies, doing deals, making payroll, figuring it out in real time. I'm Wendell Butler. I run a hard money lending company, a fix and flip operation, new build business, and I'm building this whole thing from the ground up while I'm still bleeding on the floor. I don't know if I like that. Beyond the Build is where we talk about what actually happens after you decide to go build something. The messy part, the real part. If that's you, let's go. If not, no hard feelings. I don't know. I don't know if I like that. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe I'll just get right into it on the show instead of doing an intro. Maybe intros are just not worth it. But maybe I'll think about something catchy. But all right, on this episode, we're going to dive into a little bit of, let's see. We're going to talk about one of the worst deals I've ever done in business, at least my business. And I'm actually living it right now. So obviously I have a lot of wins. I post wins. I post losses as well. But this one is definitely a pain in the ass deal. So we got into this property. It is a fix and flip / new build deal. Okay. It is a house that was on a hill and it had a lot of land next to it. And the land next to it is subdividable to then build a new build. And we were like, awesome. We're going to get a fix and flip and a new build, and we're going to profit like crazy. I think our initial underwriting was a $120,000 profit, which is pretty good for a fix and flip and then a new build combined. And we were excited about it. 8 months later, we're still working on that deal, and we are trying to just break even because of everything that we've uncovered and learned about during this process. So I'm going to dive into a little bit for you. So our initial plan was we bought it from a wholesaler, and the wholesaler had it locked up for a certain price. I think it was around like $195 or something, right? And based on initial underwriting, we offered around $220,000, but it was contingent upon the land subdividing, right? So we made the wholesaler get the land subdivided. Once it's subdivided, and we knew that we can build on it and got approved to build, we were like, okay, we'll close. So we were like, hey, we have contingencies. We're not taking a huge risk here. We've done a ton of fix and flips, so we know now we're not going to run into issues there. And yeah, basically we ran into issues, but we got the land subdivided. We closed on it, $220,000. The wholesaler. What's funny is the wholesaler is going to make out on this whole deal. He made like a $25,000 assignment fee, and we're going to make probably nothing. We might lose a couple thousand. But the learning that you get from it pays its dividends astronomically, because now we know not to do these types of deals, at least like a property on a hill. We found holes on our due diligence, and it really thickened our skin to the point of when we make offers now, we're just no bullshitters. We try not to get emotional. I never want to get emotional buying a deal. But this one, I think we just got a little emotional. We just got too excited about it. So I had to take a sip of water. We had a lot of deals going on. I think we had 7 to 8 projects going on right then. And we thought this was just going to be another awesome project for us. So fast forward, we had $120,000 profit lined up. We were going to do the flip, which had a cost basis of around, because the land was worth like $70K, about. It's been a cost basis on the flip of like 120 going in. And is that math right? 120? Well, 140 going in. And we thought we would only have to put like 100,000 into it, which is a big rehab. We don't even touch those really anymore because of this project. So we pivoted and we're like, fuck that. We are just going to stick to easier fix and flips, because there's so much risk and so much stuff that can go wrong with it that the margin for error will shrink your profit astronomically. So we actually switched up our whole game plan for our business because of this one deal. We went into a cost base of 140. We're going to put 100K into it. That's 240. And we're going to sell it for around 350, 360. And after holding costs and everything, that was going to profit like 60 after holding costs, closing costs, realtor fees, and a timeline of like 6 months or so. We were going to profit around $60,000 for the flip. For the new build, we were going to build, and we still did build. This went a little bit better, but we built like a 1,350 square foot single family home that is on the subdivided land up on the hill. And we're going to put around the same. I think it was like around like 240 into it to build with the lot factor and everything. And then we're selling it for around like 370-ish to profit another like 60K or so after holding costs, realtor fees, etc., and the timeline to build. So it's 60K plus 60K is 120K, right? We close. Within the first week of closing, we start demolition of the fix and flip. And lo and behold, we open up the wall behind the kitchen because we were replacing the whole kitchen. And we find that the foundation has a crack through it. This is horizontal, right? Horizontally, all the way from one wall to the other, because it's built into the hill. So the back part of the house has a ton of dirt, which is thousands of pounds pushing on that. And water and stuff was like coming through and eroding it. And eventually to the point that the foundation started bowing out and it cracked all the way across. We've dealt with this stuff before. And we were like, okay, that sucks. That's going to be like a $25,000 repair. Okay, we're still going to be in this and make like $95,000 on it as long as everything else goes fine. Now we started digging behind the foundation, and because you have to dig behind it, and then we have to put like these carbon fiber straps on it to resupport it. And then we have to waterproof it as well. So ended up being around 25 grand there on top of our $100,000 budget to do that, right? So 120 minus 25, now at 95. Cool. That's fine. The new build, we didn't get a lot factor before. We didn't have anybody go out and walk it, which we normally do. We sent pictures and we had them do a quick walk, but not like a full walk. And it was pretty flat on top of the hill. There's a concrete slab on that location. I don't know if they were trying to build before. I don't know what they were trying to do, or if it's just parking. But they originally said like, oh, it'd only be like 15,000 or something lot factor, which a lot factor is to demo the land, take out all the concrete or trees or shrubbery, whatever is there. And then you have to grade it and level it to then put your plan on it. And we were building a slab here. And then, sorry if you hear my cat, he's screaming. Get away. His name's Loki. Move. So they said it was going to be around $15,000. So they go out there and do a full review after we close. I recommend never doing this ever. Okay. I don't know why we did it. They came back and they said, oh, it's going to be like $45,000. Oh, cool. So that's on the 30K above our budget. So this is one the first week too, right? Now it's shrunk down to what, $55,000, $60,000 profit. And we're like, holy shit, this is already not worth it. Because as you do fix and flips with experience, more stuff will be uncovered. We uncovered the stuff within a week. So we were like, okay, let's just move forward with it. Let's just get it done. We got to figure this out and just try to do it, So we continued the process, and we found out that another issue came up. Our plan initially was to have a shared driveway for this property, because I don't know how I can picture this, but imagine a property on a hill, and then the driveway comes up in front of the property. So it comes in from the side of the lot and comes up gradually in front of the property, and you park next to the house on the other side. We were going to have that parking area and that driveway be shared for both properties, which is another stupid thing, because why the hell would someone want to share a driveway that devalues properties? So we just weren't thinking. We were caught up in a ton of other deals, and we just thought like, oh, we can just do this because we're doing so good in other deals. No, you can't. So we realized, okay, after we did the lot factor, after we put down, the stakes to like where we were going to build, all the trees we had to cut down, we realized that there wasn't enough parking space for the two houses, which is common fucking sense if we just went there and looked at it with the contractor and actually had like some logical conversations about it. So now we got to build a second driveway that goes up to the left side of the house. So the fix and flip needs a new driveway that goes up to the left side. Now this property is on a hill, right? So you can't have a driveway that's too steep. It needs to be like a gradual incline. That way cars can actually get up it. They don't hit their bumpers when they first go up the driveway, because if you're driving straight and a driveway is immediately like a hill, most cars are going to smash their bumper into it and not be able to get up. Not everybody's driving like a lifted F-150, even though in North Carolina, a lot of people drive that stuff. Not everybody's driving that. So then we had to dive into how much that will cost, right? Because it's on a hill and because of all the grading, our initial quotes came back and they're around $50,000 because we had to do retaining walls. We had to do a ton of digging. We had to bring in a ton of dirt. We had to re-level basically the driveway so it can be a gradual incline up the property. Now we're still dealing with this right now. We're trying to figure out the driveway, but we got it down to the point that it's only going to cost us around $25,000, maybe, hopefully. So now we're down to what, $30,000 in profit? Wow, for two houses, a fix and flip and a new build, $30,000 in profit. That is a terrible deal. But wait, there's more. There's my girlfriend trying to. There she is. Yeah, she's trying to get our cat to not have a field day in our litter box. He starts throwing litter around. Anyway, the driveway. Okay, so the driveway, we're figuring that out right now. Now we're down to $30,000 in profit. And we're like, holy shit, we should try to fire sale this. At this point, we've gone so much into the fix and flip because it's like 3-4 weeks in. We've already demoed. We already started renovating stuff to the point that we already have so much money into it that when you do the math and we did a fire sale, one, nobody wants this property because it's a freaking shit show. Two, if we did fire sale it, we had to sell it pretty much for what we bought it for, and we would lose like $80K off the bat. So it's just a no-go. We had to just tighten our bootstraps and just push on through. So here we are sitting and we're like, okay, 30,000 profit. We can make this work. At least we're not losing money, right? Well, remember that this property is on a hill, and when you grade for the new build and when you grade anywhere else and start digging, you have to put up retaining walls like everywhere to hold dirt back, because you can't just get rid of the dirt. You have to hold the dirt back because it's on a freaking hill. Now, the retaining walls added up to be, I think, around an additional like $25,000. And at that point, now we're breaking even, right? Maybe you have like a 5K spread on it, 10K spread. This project was supposed to only take around 6 months to do, and complete both and then sell. Now it's at the point of 8 months, and we are just at the final stages to finish the driveway, and we'll hopefully list it in the next 3 weeks or so. So holding costs on top of that is, my cat is literally doing backflips in a litter box. This is Beyond the Bill. This is an unfiltered podcast. I don't give a shit. Okay. Sorry if you heard my cat doing that. Anyway, so we're at like no profit now, and the holding costs are now 2 months over what we were expecting to exit for, and we probably still have another 3 months of holding costs. So now we're at the point that we call it project break even, because if we break even, we will literally pop champagne and be so happy. What I learned from this, right, is you need to always do your due diligence, and you need to never just make quick decisions and assume that everything's going to work out. You have to assume the worst, which I always do. I have a lender mindset. I'm very pessimistic in underwriting. I'm pessimistic in deals, but I'm optimistic in the outcome of it when we start the process. And I'm optimistic in the speed that we can get it done and the confidence that we can actually get it done. Now we're going to get these projects done. We didn't, fall back and like cower down. We figured it out. We found ways to make it work, and we're going to move forward with it. And some families are going to get amazing houses to live in, but we're going to get absolutely jack shit for it. So this is a project I'm living through right now as I'm doing other new builds, as I'm doing other fix and flips. And it is really a daunting and mental burn on you, because you're spending so much time on this project that you're going to make absolutely nothing from. You're actually going to lose money from it. And the reason I want to talk about this is because, one, nobody ever talks about their losses. They always talk about their wins. They're like, I'm doing so good. I'm amazing. Buy my course. I like to talk about the losses because there's way more education in that and way more ability to learn from other people's mistakes and not make them. So the big mistakes that we made here was we did not do proper due diligence up front. We should have got a lot factor in an actual quote from the new build contractor that we use before we even signed papers and closed. Because honestly, the second we got that quote, we would have not bought this deal. Number two, for the fix and flip and the foundation, there's not much you can do about that because we don't have X-ray vision, right? So that's part of fix and flipping, is that when you open up walls, you can open up a can of worms. So you always want to buffer in additional contingencies, which we did, right? We assumed $100,000 repair with a contingency of 20%. We allocated $120,000, but that got eaten even more from the foundation and then from the driveway, right? So actually went like 30, 40K over budget. And then the new build did the same thing and went like 40, 50K over budget. And then a holding cost and additional things that fell out of left field with this property made it so our 120K profit shrunk down to zero. And actually, we might lose, if we walked away only losing $10,000 on this deal, that'd be amazing, right? So there's wins and losses in real estate, there's wins and losses in business. But what you have to do is not get scared to keep on taking action and doing more. You just got to learn from your mistakes. So number one, due diligence. Be a pessimistic when underwriting. Be a pessimistic when walking properties. Assume the worst, right? In every single deal that you do. And when you do that, you might get less yeses from your offers because they're going to be low in numbers. But the yeses that you do get will marginally perform a lot better than if you're just submitting offers based on emotion, based on underwriting and assumptions that you aren't accounting for. Number two is make sure you always get contractors out there first to do a quick inspection, or at least the general contractor for the new build, like get a lot factor and get the actual quote. They quoted us like verbally like 15K and that turned to 45K. I could point at the contractor all day and be like, you fucked us, right? But it wasn't them, it was us, because we didn't have them go out there and do that. We didn't press them to go do that. And number three is having partners, and having great partners that you have good relationships with is going to get you through these tough times. So on this deal, obviously there's me and Brian, who's my partner in Titan Timbers. We also had another partner come in that was a new build. He had a lot of new builds under his belt. And the fact that we all missed this and didn't do due diligence properly is insane. But also we all learned together and we built our relationship even more. And the partners that I build off of understanding them as a person, liking them as a person. And I always look to work with people that I would hang out with, that I like their morals, I like their values for situations that come up like this. Because I've heard time and time again that when something goes wrong in a partnership, one of the partners would just bow out and be like, see ya, I'm going to just leave this one up to you, right? But we are all in this together and we communicate effectively and we're pushing through this, even though it's a shit show, because we know there's a light at the end of the tunnel. And the amount that we learned from this and the amount of relationships that we built through this partnership, we now have 4 other properties and land deals and new builds under contract to build on that are going to bring back compounding effects into our business. So from this one deal, which was absolute shit, 120K profit going to like a negative profit, just like that in a blink of an eye, turned into learning lessons, new built partnerships, strengthening relationships with our contractors and our partnerships, and in turn built a ton of trust around each other because we dealt with this together and went through the fire together. Now we have a lot of momentum in our business. We have multiple properties on the contract. Our revenue is now at the point that it's at the highest point that it's been projected revenue for the deals we have on a contract since we started the company. So that's basically it. That's a quick synopsis into one of the worst deals I've ever done. And you can relate this back to any type of business, right? I'm sure everybody has horror stories, entrepreneurs have horror stories. And although a lot of them don't talk about it, this is the stuff that you need to talk about. You need to tell people about, because not everybody is cut from the same cloth to become an entrepreneur. A lot of people that would get into the situation would like declare bankruptcy and just cower and run away. We push through because we understand that there's a light at the end of the tunnel. This is just part of the game, and we're going to get through this, and we're going to build just a better business from this experience. So that's it. I'll cut that off on this episode, and I hope you enjoyed it. And if you have any questions, feel free to always reach out to me. You can go to wendellbutler.com. You can subscribe to my newsletter. It's on that website as well, where I always send out, weekly whiffs and wins, which include a lot of this information. And yeah, let's just keep killing it, keep on building. Let's just keep it real and keep on working hard. So let's get it. Peace out, guys.